Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. Today we're going to do a reading that's a little bit different to what I normally do, in that we are doing quick, direct, snappy messages. You will know if you're a subscriber or someone who regularly watches my videos that I tend to do a really long, really involved video. I cover the mat with cards, and I'm still going to be doing that, but I thought I would challenge myself to try and do a simpler, quicker reading. I'm someone who really loves to get lots and lots of cards out, and I appreciate that that's not always very practical if you are on the go and looking for some quick guidance, if you don't have 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes to devote to sit and watch or listen to a reading. So if that resonates with you, then this will hopefully be helpful. This is going to be a quicker reading. I've pre-shuffled the cards, but we're also going to get some charms, dice, tokens like we usually do for those extra elements to your reading. But this is a message for you, some guidance at this time. Maybe you are just feeling a bit lost, a little bit directionless, and would really appreciate a message and some guidance. Maybe you have a particular issue or concern or topic on your mind that you would appreciate some insight into, or some words of guidance or encouragement. So whatever, is that a word? For whatever reason you're here, I hope that this reading will have some valuable messages for you today. So with that being said, let's take a look at the piles that we've got on offer. We have 3 piles here today, and you can see that I've placed a different crystal on each pile. I want to say a big thank you to all of my subscribers and to all of my patrons as well, including Alexandra, Amy, Alyssa, Alison, Cara, and Kelly. Thank you so much to all of you for your support. I really appreciate it. Some of you have been very long-standing patrons and supporters of like 2-3 years plus, which really means such a lot to me. And welcome if you're new. Please do consider subscribing. It would really make my day. So let's take a look at these cards. So take a deep breath, pause if you need to. Pile 1 has this beautiful serpentine. It's a green snake-like crystal. Pile 2 has this gorgeous abalone shell. Really beautiful colours. I think you can't really appreciate it unless you're actually physically here. It's got so many shades to it. It's beautiful. And pile 3 has this Caribbean calcite, which looks like waves and foam crashing against the sand. It's really beautiful. Really unique stone. Take as much time as you need. It might be that you have multiple topics that you want to get different messages on, in which case do choose 2 piles, but you might find it easier to maybe focus on one first and choose a pile for that one topic, and then come back and choose again. I think that will probably work best for most people. I definitely find it hard to sort of focus on 2 topics and picking which which of the piles I'm choosing is the right one. Maybe you're struggling to pick between 2 piles, but you only have one issue, or you're just here for general guidance or messages. That's fine. Don't force yourself to choose. If you really can't choose, watch both. They might both have a message for you, or they might both resonate. So definitely do that if that is calling to you. Take as much time as you need. Pause the video if you need to, or go back if you want to see the close-ups of the crystals again. And when you guys have chosen, I will get started with pile number 1. Hey there, group 1. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the beautiful serpentine crystal, then this is going to be your message, your guidance for today. We'll just put that there. And as I mentioned in the introduction, I've really challenged myself here because I am someone who talks a lot. I use very long sentences, especially when I'm doing a reading. Lots of words come to me and I want to articulate that as clearly as possible. But I wanted to keep it fairly snappy today for those of you on the go. This pile, I don't know if it's means anything or if it's interesting, but this pile actually got the most cards out of any of the piles today. They're all pre-shuffled, and you guys got multiple cards for pretty much every deck that I used. So it does seem like there's a lot to unpack with your reading, but let's just take a look at what you have. So for tarot, you have 8 of Cups, 3 of Wands, and 2 of Cups. And then from your oracle cards, you have the Loving Man, 5 of People, Ascended Masters, 7 of Spirit, Witch's Cottage, Security, Relax, New Moon in Cancer, lots of water here, and New Moon in Aries, Go for it. Amazing. So it does kind of feel like there's 2 main strands of this message. And I mean, we've definitely got, for example, like cups, wands, and then here we have water, fire. So those are the main sort of signs or elements showing up here. So all of the fire signs and water signs, but especially Aries and Cancer. What I am seeing is that there is a lack of fulfillment for you somewhere. So the 8 of Cups is showing this sort of dissatisfaction, this feeling of being overwhelmed, of really not resonating with something. And that could be any sort of situation, you know, it could be where you live, it could be a job, a friendship circle, a relationship, and you're just not getting there. And so you want to make changes, but it feels like that's quite overwhelming. And it almost feels like you've been holding on for so long that you're quite close to just like snapping and throwing it all away without anything else lined up. But you want that security, which is Cottage. So, you know, an easy example to use would be being in a job for a very long time that's not going well for you, and just staying in it so long that you're burnt out, and then wanting to just throw it all away and hand in your notice and leave without having a job lined up, but then worrying about that security. What I will say, Group 1, is that you've clearly got a lot of support around you. So in particular, there seems to be a masculine energy, the Loving Man. This could be a father figure. It could be a male peer, like a brother or a friend, a colleague perhaps. It could be a romantic partner, and I mean, you have the 2 of Cups, which represents love and romance, but also in some cases very best friends, people who are really on the same wavelength as each other. And so this person is very, very supportive and will sort of stand behind you whatever you do. Ascended Masters are also here backing you, and maybe you are already asking them for help, or you're kind of receiving some sort of guidance, but you're not sure who from. And in that case, it's the lovely Ascended Masters here. This Loving Man could also be someone in spirit, potentially. And then you have these amazing messages of relax, go for it, which I think is so nice. I know that they seem very contrasting in terms of like even just their colors and how they're presented there. But they're both new moons. So New Moon in Cancer, New Moon in Aries, which represents this new beginning, this fresh start, this change. It feels like you're ready for a new adventure. So whatever you're weighing up or deciding to walk away from or choosing to make changes to, it feels like you are being strongly encouraged to go for it. And I like that relax comes into it as well, because relax seems to say, you know what you're worried about, there's no point worrying about it. You know, it's no big deal. And it might feel scary and overwhelming to be on this threshold of change, but it's going to work out smoothly. So relax. Go for it. You've got this, and at least one person certainly has your back. You can fall back on that person, and they will sort of have open arms to support and provide for you, is the word I'm hearing. So let's look at your charms, tokens, dice. We'll just get a few and see how they interact with your cards. We'll do charms first. Okay, and we will get your tokens. I use 2 bags of tokens, 1 big, 1 small. And we will also get dice for you. So we will roll from the 6th set of dice, which are the Voyager's dice. I'll just get those. And we're rolling 7. 7 from the box of Voyager's dice. Okay. Okay, so lots to get through. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay, interesting. There's a cup there, a chalice, so there's that continuation of that watery energy. And here also with the watering can. So if I maybe start with the charms, and we'll just sort of go in that order. So charms, you have the watering can, nourishing yourself or nourishing a project, taking care of yourself. The crown is representing your authority, your sovereignty here. You are the decision maker. Don't let anyone try and push you into anything. Cookies, taking care of yourself. Again, it's like a treat yourself charm. Give yourself permission to indulge. Fire extinguisher. It's interesting, again, like water and fire showing up. Fire extinguisher is like trying to minimize the negative damage of something, trying to firefight to stop something from getting worse. And that's really what I'm picking up on with like this 8 of Cups energy of something that is just so overwhelming that it's actually becoming damaging. It's stressful. It's very intense emotionally, maybe. It's taking its toll. There's a lot of mental load that's being placed upon you. You're struggling. And yet here we've got this beautiful smiley face. Happiness. Contentment. There is joy out there for you. Spilled milk is an interesting token to get in this context because it suggests that maybe at the moment you're focused on the negatives, which is understandable if you are in this long-term difficult situation. Spilt milk, I don't feel it's so much that you're like just focused on the negatives and crying about things that you can't change, which is sort of what spilt milk talks about. It's like disappointment and loss and focusing on what has been lost and what is out of your hands rather than what you can control. It's very much like a 5 of Cups card. I think here more it's like you're very focused on what could go wrong if you make this change, and you're very focused on how much you've already suffered, how much you've already lost, and it's really grinding you down. Try as best as you can to move away from that and to focus on what you could gain. Okay, so the smiley face as opposed to the spilt milk. I know it's difficult, and if you are ground down, you won't have huge reserves of energy to bolster your mood. But try your best to remind yourself of that message when you're struggling. Hand of God is also amazing because it seems to have so much intertextuality with this card. Like, firstly, obviously the Ascended Masters have shown up in your reading as wanting to help you. And I recommend looking into the Ascended Masters if you don't know who they are, if you've never worked with them, but also the fact that they're represented on this card by these hands, and then that's the same here. So Hand of God, it's like they want to give you a helping hand. They want to be helpful. They want to be very practical, and Ascended Masters, they're often there to give sort of wisdom teachings and spiritual teachings, and it can feel quite conceptual, but here it feels like they want to be very practical, and they want to get involved and sort of roll their sleeves up so to speak, and bring opportunities your way and be helpful in that sense. So definitely lean on them and ask for help. Then your other tokens, you've got number 69, yin yang, balance, equilibrium, give and take, alchemy. Fits in very well with the Ascended Masters, especially because here on their hands they're being represented by different symbols. There's an infinity symbol, lotus flower, a dove, and a pyramid, and I feel like the yin yang fits so perfectly in with all of that. You've also got the key, number 22, which is wonderful. The key represents opening doors, potential, having the ability to make changes, solve problems. Essentially, it's like the magician. It's like saying you have everything you need within you. You're able to pull this off, to do this, to implement your plans and your hopes. Then with your dice, you have the egg, potential, new beginnings, fresh starts. The shield, protect yourself, defend yourself. This is a beautiful one. You will find what you seek. This is a treasure map telling you that your joy is out there, as we've already mentioned. You know, you will find what you seek. And then here, amazingly, is the bag of gold. So what many would regard as treasure, that symbol of abundance and serendipity or achieving a goal. Also, you know, very positive and auspicious to get this dice if you're worried about money or you're looking to change roles. And I regularly see this chalice as being like the Holy Grail. So there again is like an extra treasure of finding that thing that you've been seeking for so long. Then over here, your final dice are a lovely bowl of rice. This fits in quite nicely with the cookies and the watering can. This sense of nourishment, taking care of yourself, and that really does mean nourishing your physical body. That means eating well, sleeping well, staying hydrated, making sure that you're getting your vitamins, looking after yourself in that sense, going for runs or walks or other exercise as much as you can manage to sort of bring you out of the headspace. Really take care of yourself there. And finally, the gears. Things are already in motion. Set the wheels in motion, get things rolling. It also reminds me of how everything is interconnected. When I see that dice and like just a small effort or a small change in the way one of them functions will really affect everything else in the big picture. So I know that this seems overwhelming, but it's kind of this message of like just that one small change makes such a big difference and sets everything in motion and gets the ball rolling for you. So I hope you enjoyed this group one. I hope it made sense. Do let me know in the comments below if you like this sort of quicker, more concise reading. Obviously, we've still managed to pack lots into it. And, you know, it's not as short and snappy as some people's full readings are, but I've tried here to challenge myself to be a bit more concise. Let me know if this resonated. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to your reading. If you chose group 2 with the beautiful abalone shell, then this is going to be your message, your quick guidance. As I mentioned in the introduction, I've just picked a few different cards. They're pre-shuffled. I didn't have any limit onto how many cards came out in this group, but group 1 by far got the most. And I just took whatever came from the shuffling, and we will see what that means for you. We've also got charms, tokens, and dice coming as well as usual. As I mentioned in the intro, I just wanted to challenge myself to do this more concise reading. As I'm sure you're aware, if you have ever watched my videos before, I'm a very wordy person. I speak in very long sentences, very convoluted. I'm doing it right now, and I would like to try and keep things more simple, easier for those of you who are on the go. So let's look at your cards. We'll look first at your tarot. So you have the World. Strong card to start out with. Big major arcana card. And then the Wheel of Fortune. So also major arcana. Interesting. Then your next cards are Family. The Two of People. Earth, grounding. And first quarter moon in Sagittarius. Believe in your good luck. Interesting. And interesting that you have Earth as well, because you were drawn to the abalone shell, and I personally see that as more water, maybe some fire as well because of the way it sparkles. There is some fire here with Sagittarius, but interesting that Earth showed up. So what I'm seeing with these cards is a few things. It feels as though you have reason to celebrate, group 2. I'm sure it will be different for all of you, but it feels as though you've successfully closed something off. You've successfully completed something, whether it's a project or a chapter of your life or a goal of some kind. Maybe you've just graduated. Maybe you have secured a job offer. Maybe you have won an award, got married, retired. It's something along those lines where it feels like, yeah, I've just come through this whole process, and it was a big journey, and now that's done and I can celebrate that. Maybe you've just been through a really difficult time and this is the start of a new chapter. But whatever it is, group 2, I feel like you can really celebrate it, and this is now a time to sort of recover, look back, and feel proud of your achievements. So I don't feel as though it's the time to plow ahead with new things just yet, and I know that you might be raring to go. You might have ideas, you might have projects, plans, hopes, dreams, things that you really want to fulfill. But the message today is that this is time to really kick back, relax, show gratitude for the things that you care about and your good fortune, and also be proud of yourself and all of the effort that you've put in and all of the hard work. There is so much time ahead of you for hard work and putting in effort, but now you deserve to kick back and relax. Book that holiday, spend time with your family, enjoy your evenings or weekends, and just kind of fill them with things that you love to do. It feels as though you have permission from these cards to maybe slack a little bit on the chores and find more time for fun or relaxation. You know, your idea of fun might not be filling your diary with loads of things to do on the weekend. It might be having a weekend where you do nothing and you stay in your pajamas, and that's perfectly fine. The cards are saying, please do what makes you feel joy. Believe in your good luck is very nice as well, because this card is kind of making me feel like you almost can't quite believe that you've pulled it off, or you can't believe that you would be able to do something similar again. And the cards are telling you, actually, no, you can. Cherish your family. You know, it's not necessarily children that it's talking about or grandchildren. It's just family in general. Cherish the people that you care about. They support you. The universe supports you. And you should be proud of that. Let's look at your charms, tokens, and dice and see what extra insight they can offer. We'll do your charms first. And now your tokens. I've got 2 bags of tokens, one big, one little, so I'll pull from both. That fits very well. Okay, and we will get your dice as well. Just turn these over so they're the right way around. Okay. So group 2, we're going to roll the 6th set of dice for you, which are the Voyager's dice. So let me just get those. Okay, here they are. And we are rolling 5 of them for you. So 5 dice from the Voyages set for group 2. Okay, so let's take a look at these. It's interesting because group 1 got this same set of dice, but you only have 1 dice that's actually overlapping that they received. They also got this Hand of God, which is curious. I often have some sort of red thread like that running through all of my readings, or maybe 2 of the piles, whether it's like similar messages showing up in cards, or the same symbol or color keeps coming out, or you get like something like a repeated token or charm or something like that. So let's start with your charms. So you have the measuring tape, which makes me think of things measuring up to your expectations. Things are as you expect them to be. And I think that's partly where the good fortune thing comes in. It feels like you're achieving something and it's worked out just as you wanted it to, even if the journey to get there sort of wasn't what you would have expected. It's worked out as you'd hoped, or maybe even better than that. Again, even if it's not in the exact way that you pictured it, it's still there. And it's kind of like, well, what did I do to deserve this? You know, how did I get here? You have the goldstone ball, beautiful, glittery, quite similar to the abalone shell in its sparkly beauty. This reminds me of the sun card in tarot. It represents happiness, confidence, optimism, the fact that you should be happy. There's that fire coming through again from that. You have perfume, bottle of perfume, being attracted to something, being drawn to something. It's also very sensuous. When we think of perfume, we're really reconnecting with senses. Smells bring back memories. It's very evocative. And that fits in with this earthly energy of involving your senses. There is also this love hanging by a thread charm. And when we get this, it says that there is some kind of relationship that's struggling. So, you know, maybe there's been arguments, maybe you've lost contact with someone, or you just haven't been checking in very much. This is the time now to reconnect with those people that you value, but they've kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. And maybe they're family members, maybe they're friends, or like a chosen family. But really now invest time in the people and things that you enjoy. The perfume, you know, it's being drawn to something, and that also means the hobbies that you're drawn to, the people that you're drawn to, the interests and places that you find interesting. Think also about that extra meaning of earth, you know, as in this planet, places, particular places that you're drawn to, important places, power places for you. Red Riding Hood is here telling you not to let anyone pull you away from what you enjoy. Don't let anyone try and take you away from the right path. There is also a masculine energy here, someone who is important or supportive in some way. Maybe that's someone you want to reconnect with. Maybe it's a child that you haven't seen for a while because maybe they live in another country or far away. There's that earth coming into play. Maybe it is a father or uncle or brother or male friend or past lover, or even your current romantic partner that you just haven't had time for because you've been so deep into what you've been experiencing, for better or worse, or you've been working so hard or like putting in the hours and just haven't had time to really connect. Even if you've been physically living together, you've sort of mentally been elsewhere. Now is a great time to reconnect. Then looking at your tokens, you have Zen. So again, this sense of taking care of yourself, being mindful, letting the worries go, allowing yourself to just not do things, you know, not forging ahead with anything, just breathing, living for the moment, taking each day as it comes. Hand of God is landing over here, and it seems to be fitting again with that believe in your good luck, this divine intervention. Divinity is here for you. There is a sense of miraculous circumstances or really being provided for, which is beautiful. Over here you have the light bulb, number 70. So again, it has that sort of sun connection or fiery connection. Ideas, that eureka moment, the epiphany. Maybe that's happening while you're watching this reading. Maybe you're really being reminded of something and you're thinking, hey, when I get off watching this reading, I'm going to pick up the phone to that person, or I'm going to send so-and-so a message, or I'm going to see if I can find time in my diary to travel and visit that person. Hopefully this is really inspiring for you. Then your other token is number 101, Saturn. Karma, hard work. Saturn represents boundaries, our limitations, hard work, reaping the rewards of that as well. Represents time, especially if something takes a long time. And I do really feel as though this is the culmination of a lot of work, essentially a lot of effort that you've put in. So he is sort of recognizing that, and it's interesting that he's landing on Earth, like Saturn and Earth. Both with double meanings, because Saturn is obviously a deity as well, and Earth is the element of Earth as much as it is the planet, which I find really interesting there. Maybe also looking into where Saturn is in your birth chart, any transits that are happening for you with Saturn right now, and understanding how that's affecting work ethic and the need to rest, affecting your sort of relationship with other people, your outlook on life. Also, Saturn rules Capricorn. If there's any sort of big Capricorn placements in your chart, that might be also something to look into in case that's affecting you right now. And then finally, looking at your dice, you have the cauldron, things bubbling away, melting pot, kind of putting all of your ideas into it and getting this ultimate result. And, you know, it really does feel like this is the time everything's come to fruition. It's come to the boil. It's ready. It's done. The jigsaw piece, the last piece of the puzzle, fitting in that final bit of work that's needed to get this over the line. Also, it makes me think of like finding what's missing or reconnecting what's missing. And I think that fits in nicely with like reconnecting with people and taking that well-earned break. You have the Holy Grail here, the big chalice or goblet. Finding what you've been seeking. It's very miraculous to see the Holy Grail. So it is really like you've pulled off this miraculous feat of brilliance. Well done for what you've done. And now it's there, and you can't quite believe that you've managed it. You've found the Holy Grail. And your final two dice over here, we have this laser gun, which always makes me think of like getting to a problem quickly, like nipping something in the bud, zapping it before it can, you know, propagate or take hold. And I think this is sort of talking about how now is the time to rest and focus on physical issues. Don't let any stress or burden that's built up during this experience get out of hand now. Allow yourself the recuperation time that's needed. Don't just jump from the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak, but give yourself a nice buffer time to just breathe and ruminate and get ready for the next thing. And there it is, the ladder. Going up in the world, leveling up, success, improvement. Amazing. So group 2, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it was helpful. Do let me know if you like this more concise format. It's not something I'll do every time, but I just thought it would be nice to try it and see what it's like, and to challenge myself as well to be briefer and more concise in my readings. I hope this was helpful. I hope it's given you the guidance you needed today, the inspiration you came here for. Have a lovely rest of your day and take care. Relax, you deserve it. And I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Take care. Hey there, group 3. Welcome to your reading if you chose the Caribbean Calcite. And group 3, this is going to be your reading, so we'll just put that there. We're going to get your messages. As I mentioned in the introduction, this is me challenging myself to try and be more concise and do a quicker reading, which is hopefully going to be of more use to those of you who are on the go than my usual super long readings are. We have your cards here. As I mentioned, they're pre-shuffled. I didn't put a limit on how many cards should be taken from each deck, so I was very open to whatever came out. Group 1 had by far the most cards in it, but we will also be getting your charms, your tokens, your dice as always. So let's just jump into it. Let's see what messages are here for you today. We'll start with your tarot. Let's take a look. So 4 of Swords is your first card today, followed by King of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Interesting mixture of cards there from the tarot. Then from Oracle, you have Playing It Safe, the 6 of Intentions. Interesting. Watchtower of the West, Autumn. And last quarter moon in Leo, Lighten Up. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, I'm filming this. We're not quite in Leo season yet, but we soon will be. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, if you're watching when I've posted or shortly after, we're kind of midsummer at this point, so autumn isn't far away. If you're watching in the Southern Hemisphere at around the time I've posted, then we've just come out of autumn and heading, well, we will now be in sort of midwinter. So it's interesting that that one's showing up. Let's look at the reading as a whole. So I feel as though right now you're kind of in a bit of a stasis period where you need to take a step back and think. So the 4 of Swords is kind of letting me know that there is a need for a break, and you possibly haven't been giving yourself a break, and so that's why the universe kind of slammed the brakes on for you, so to speak. If you're getting frustrated that a situation has slowed down, or you aren't able to move forward with a project at this time, this is possibly why you need to take care of yourself. The King of Cups is showing up to ask you to look into your emotional world in more detail, to be the friend that you wish you had, and to be a good friend to others. There's also a sense here of like, now is not the time to take risks. So playing it safe, and the 4 of Swords and the King of Cups all together is kind of making me feel as though there's still something you need to learn, or still some information that you need to have before moving forward. So I'm not sure exactly what this situation is, and I'm sure it'll be different for each of you, but it feels as though you've been trying to achieve something or bring something forward, and actually the message is wait, you need to learn some more. Some other things need to happen before this can be brought into reality. It's not just about, the universe not wanting to grant your wish. It's nothing to do with that. It's more about the timeline, and other things need to happen first. So when I think of autumn, I think of harvest, kind of reaping the rewards of your hard work and efforts. I also think of this very quiet time where things start to become more peaceful in nature. I feel very reflective a lot of the time in autumn. I don't know if that's the same for the rest of you, but I'm really getting this like reflective, deep energy. But then you've got Lighten Up. So I really feel from this reading as a whole that you've been putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You've been giving yourself this timeline of like, I need to have this done by this time, or I need to get this sorted or manifested, or I need to achieve this now, otherwise I'll be a failure, or I won't be happy with myself, or whatever. But actually this sort of stressful mindset and urgency is only doing yourself a disservice in the long run. And I feel like you're getting more and more frustrated because it's like you're running into closed doors at every turn. But right now you do just need to dial it back a little bit, dial back on the intensity, release some of the pressure that you're putting on yourself, and allow just a little bit of time to flow by. I'm not talking about a lot of time because, autumn is really just around the corner. If you're watching this for me now, so that's how I'm interpreting it from the Northern Hemisphere perspective. Like, autumn is not even 2 months away, so it's not a lot of time. It's just some time, and that might be really frustrating to hear, and I'm sorry. You really might not have been hoping to hear that today, but it's like you just need to give yourself that little bit of breathing space, allow other things to fall into place that you might not even have been aware needed to fall into place, and give yourself a break. Literally what I'm saying is, like, cut yourself some slack, have some fun, allow yourself to laugh, because it feels, group 3, like you've gotten so bogged down in this situation that you just haven't given yourself any opportunity to have fun and to really reflect on what you love and enjoy. I just feel like you need to have some fun. You need to give yourself some breathing space, be kinder to yourself, let yourself relax. And the journey, the whole experience of what you're trying to bring about will be much more enjoyable if you do that, and you'll still get to the same destination. So how about that? So let's look at your charms and tokens and dice, group 3, and see what else they can tell us. We'll start with your charms. You got the Lion and the Leo card. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull your tokens now as well, and I've got 2 bags of these, and I'll pull from both. And now your dice as well, and then we will analyze it all. Okay, so we're going to roll the first set of dice, the fantasy dice. Oh, here they are. That is a 0, so I'm going to roll again. Okay, we are rolling all 9 of the dice in this set for you, group 3. Wow, look at that imagery. It's incredible. And also with the eyes there, they're also spirals. Wow. Okay, so let me just take it step by step. We'll start with charms. So over here, fear and the shadow self is represented by the bat. It's also making me think of like activity during the night, like being up all night or stressed or struggling to sleep. The heart here, someone loves you. Love is around you at this time, also reminding you to do what you love. The baby tapir, really cute little charm, doesn't come out often, represents shyness or maybe lacking in confidence somewhat. And it's interesting that he has landed on this card, play it safe, because that is very, very fitting with what that charm means. So there is an element of like maybe not feeling as though you deserve something, maybe struggling to take that leap as much as you want to do it. There is the cactus here, representing going through a difficult time, survival mode, maybe being unapproachable as well, growth. Oh, the haunted house. There's a spider's web as well. Haunted house, being haunted by the past, being haunted by memories. It can also be like when you just can't get that thought out of your head, and it's like just a particular thought that is haunting you. So, you know, this topic, whatever this is, could be really all consuming for you right now, which I was picking up on in your cards, but definitely it's showing up in tokens and dice as well, and charms. Fairies, magic surrounds you, air elementals, and Leo the lion. Leo's energy, don't let pride get in your way. Group 3, interestingly, the fairy and firefly right next to each other there, they look quite similar. Firefly makes me think of inspiration, having that sort of creative first step towards something, passion, being really enchanted by something, which I think the fairy also points towards. Also makes me think of like a light in the darkness illuminating your way. Then you also have spiraling, which I mentioned. There's lots of intertextuality with your dice, losing control, overactive mind, going through a very difficult time, struggling to really find your balance, struggling to find your center. And that's why this breather is needed. I mean, look how frenzied he looks. This is a very unusual card for the Four of Swords, which usually shows someone resting or sleeping. He is very like he's had to be tied down, you know, and that's immediately how I picked up on your energy here, was you just had so much that you wanted to do and you really were trying to run at it. But ultimately you need to take that break now so that you can just breathe and evaluate the situation. Let the universe do some of the work for you rather than trying to shoulder all of it by yourself. And allow your mind to just settle a little bit, because, you know, when the dust settles, it may well have settled in a much more favorable position than it currently is in. That's all I can advise you of, Group 3. You have the world here, or the earth, grounding. Makes me think of the world card as well in tarot, this ability to fulfill or achieve something. But really, when I saw this token, I immediately thought of Atlas and how he's usually depicted as carrying the world on his shoulders when it's actually meant to be the sky. In mythology, it's a popular misconception that it's the world. But you know, there's also that saying as a result, like carrying the world on your shoulders, or the weight of the world on your shoulders. And that is what I felt from your energy. This sense of just carrying everything and trying to shoulder all of the burden by yourself. And it actually doesn't need to be that way. Over here, you've got the spider's web, number 34, feeling stuck, feeling trapped. It's also a beautiful creative work. Creativity, this wonderful goal or image that you're weaving. Over here you have the whale, 109 or 109. Compassion, intelligence, kindness, teachings. Think of the whale as well as also having lots and lots of time. They're sort of long-lived, wise old creatures. So having time, biding your time, being able to just take that back seat for now. And then looking at your dice as well, you've got plenty. So there's the flute, that sense of creativity again. It kind of gives me Pied Piper vibes as well, like being drawn towards something irresistibly, but actually just needing to stop yourself. And that's, you know, the Four of Swords, he's tied down. You would kind of need to be tied down to be able to resist the Pied Piper's charms as well. So you're just drawn towards it without even meaning to be. And that's where these spiral eyes are coming in as well, like completely can't even see the woods for the trees, so enthralled by something. And of course, the spiraling person here. You know, it's like you've really lost sense of what is needed and are really struggling, and would really benefit from just giving yourself that break. Socializing, having fun, cutting yourself some slack. The little gnome here really reminds me of the hermit in tarot because of his lantern. Going within, solitude, that much needed rest, and I guess self-analysis in a way, because it feels like you've been so focused externally on this project or this situation that you just need to take that breather. And I can see this wolf panting out of the corner of my eye. I actually see it moving like like he's really taking that break. And I feel like that's so important for you. You've got the lamia over here, which represents a vicious or angry woman, a woman who stands in your way or causes problems. And there's also the troll or ogre over here, which is another like opponent. So it feels as though you're also being almost like pushed into it by people around you who try and make you feel like you're not good enough, or people that you feel this very horrible competitive nature from, and you feel like you have to compete and keep up all the time. Maybe you're trying to prove people wrong who've said horrible things to you in the past, and it's just not necessary. Try and detach from that really toxic cycle of one-upmanship or competitiveness. Try and pull back from their hurtful words and deeds as much as you possibly can. Focus in on your real emotions and turning your attention back, as I said with the gnome, to what is really important, which is you. You know, turn away from the lamia and the ogre and go towards the gnome. Sweet, lovely little gnome, like my gnomes who are watching over this reading today. Then your last couple of dice, you have this potion or poison maybe, or alcohol. It's very mysterious. It always makes me think of like, is it the solution to your problems? You know, potion, poison, alcohol. Is it the solution? Maybe you're looking for the solution in the wrong place. Maybe you're putting your trust in someone that actually doesn't have your best interests at heart. Maybe you are finding solace in substances or abusing food, for example, using it as comfort or reward or punishment. Maybe you are kind of overly reliant upon something, and it's taking your focus away from what you really need to be focused on, which is you and your well-being. You know, it can be very easy to displace feelings of distress or disappointment or high stress levels onto something like a proxy, which I feel is represented here. And then, saving the best till last, you've got this lovely treasure chest, abundance, finding what is needed. Also looks like a market stall as well to me, sort of having everything you need. What you need will be provided to you, but just give yourself that break, you know? It's kind of like the equivalent between running around trying to find every single piece of stock to stock up an entire marketplace, whereas you could actually just go on a different day and someone else or like a whole community of people have set up the market and stocked it themselves, and they'll also put it away and take it away with them at the end of the day. You know, it's like, don't try and shoulder all of this burden when so much of it could be done by others and you haven't even realized, or so much of it can be made easier by waiting and allowing circumstances to change, which you can't currently see, and giving yourself that bit of distance from the situation, I think, will be really beneficial. So group 3, I hope you've enjoyed this. This one was a little bit longer than the others, and not really much of a condensed reading in the end, I'm afraid. Group 3s are often my most complicated readings. I hope you found some comfort and some inspiration from this. I hope you enjoyed this slightly more concise version of my usual readings. Do let me know in the comments if you like this quicker style. Let me know if it resonated. I hope it's helpful. Have a lovely rest of your day, you guys, and take care. And I will see you again soon. Bye bye.